Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome. Sorry about that, folks. I was late at work. It's only Monday and I'm already tired, folks. I'm ready for the weekend. Heat, how's it going? Echo Wrestler Dragon, how's it going? Welcome. Whew. We'll try to get through some of the articles that we need to get through, and we'll see how much we can do. Thank you for the offline, for the shout out, Tina. Appreciate it. We've got, well, we got a couple of headlines, right? Right there with you. I feel that. I am already exhausted. Posted a new link in the Discord. Trigger warning. Yeah, I saw that. Oh boy. Yeah, it was that's a bad one. So basically, not only are we coming off like yet another incident, another mass shooting happened in Kentucky. 4 people died and 20 plus people were injured at some sort of Sweet 16. But now we had this incident where a kid, a 16-year-old kid, was attempting to pick up his twin brother, and was subsequently shot twice because he went to the wrong house. Explain to me how that is even a scene, and is this person going to be charged? I have no idea. But I'll go through the article really quickly, because this one's, whew. Alio, how's it going? This one is going to be a rough one. Thank you for the 14 biddies. I appreciate that. Welcome. Maybe we should just oh shoot. Hey, come back. Oh man. Maybe we should start with that one. Maybe we'll start with that one. Tomorrow, folks. No stream tomorrow. I need to take the Jeep to the shop. They're gonna do a couple things. So I gotta run right after work, straight to the shop. Combat Enger? I don't know. What are we chatting about? The news and the stuff and the politics and things. Alright. Trigger warning, content warning. Canadian or US? I don't know. Yeah, no Twitch stream tomorrow, correct. I'll make another announcement before I go. Protests erupted over the weekend over the shooting of a black 16-year-old in Missouri whose family said he was shot in the head after going to the wrong home to pick up his twin brothers. Ralph Yar was allegedly shot by the homeowner outside Kansas City. residence when he arrived on Thursday, according to his GoFundMe created by his aunt. Faith Spoonmore, Yar mistakenly went to a house 1 block away where he was supposed to pick up his brothers. When he pulled up to the driveway and rang the doorbell, the homeowner shot him twice, including once in the head. Explain to me, like, damn, dude, what mindset, what mindset do you have to be in that your immediate response to somebody ringing the doorbell is to shoot them? Like, where is this thought process here? I just thought the dude is a white guy in his 80s. Oh my god, Jesus. No, I'm in the U.S. I'm kidding. According to Spoonmore, Yal ran to 3 different homes after he was shot before one of the neighbors finally agreed to help him and was told to lie on the ground with his hands up. Wait, what? Okay. Speaking at a press conference, on Sunday, KCPD Chief Stacey Graves said a suspect was taken into custody following the incident and the firearm was seized. The suspect was placed on a 24-hour hold and released pending investigation. The suspect has not been charged. Graves said the department needs to collect a formal statement from the victim and further evidence before the case can be handed over to the prosecutors. The vast majority of cases to include violent crime involve the suspect being released pending further investigation. In this case, the prosecutor requires more information from investigators that would take more than 24 hours to compile. Recognize the frustration this can cause in the entire criminal justice process. Graves not revealed the race or gender of the alleged shooter, but attorney Lee Merritt and Ben Crump, who are representing Yarl and his family, have said that the homeowner is a white man. Graves said that the information that they have does not point to the shooting being racially motivated, but police are still investigating. Yeah, I mean, okay. In Kansas City on Sunday, hundreds of protesters gathered outside the home of the alleged shooter, chanting "Stand up, fight back." Spoonmore, who went live on Instagram from the protest, said she spoke to a woman who lived close to the house where he was shot. The woman told Spoonmore that she saw the homeowner the morning after sweeping in the front of his house. This was a child that this man attempted to assassinate. He shot him twice, and we allowed him not only to go back to his house, hours after the incident, but he was able to wake up the next morning and claim like nothing ever happened. The article I just saw said that he was in his 80s. Wow. Gotcha. So did apparently the teenager is not dead? Do I have this correct? No, I don't think he died. There is no excuse for the release of this armed and dangerous suspect after admitting to shooting an unarmed, non-threatening, defenseless teenager that rang the doorbell. We demand swift action from Clay County prosecutor and law enforcement to identify, arrest, and prosecute to the full extent of the law the man responsible for this horrendous and unjustified shooting. Yeah, 100%. Like, damn, dude. Pretty sure it's not okay to shoot people that ring your doorbell. The news says he's wounded. Gotcha. The teen was released? Gotcha. So I guess we should do the follow-up. Two representatives of the Kansas City Police Department detention unit read the man's booking information to CNN over phone. They confirmed the man who was booked on investigation hold was a white man in his 80s, and his home address matched the address where the shooting took place. The representatives also noted that he was taken into custody on April 13, just before midnight, and released less than 2 hours at 1:24 a.m. on April 14th. Kansas City Police said in a Sunday news conference homeowner was placed under 24-hour investigation following the shooting. After consulting with the Clay County Prosecutor's Office, homeowner was released pending further investigation. Police also said that they have to interview the victim and collect other forensics. Okay, so he was released, yeah. That is wild. That is unbelievable. Dude shot a kid because he rang the wrong doorbell. The Writers Guild of America authorizes a strike with a staggering 97% of union members voting to give labor leaders the power to call down worker stoppage if ongoing negotiations with studios and streamers for fair pay and treatment fall apart. Wait, what? They're backing streamers? How does that work? But that's good. MAGA speaker Kevin McCarthy is humiliated on live television as CNBC host Sarah Elson shuns him for being hypocritical by pointing out that he happily raised the debt limit 3 times for Trump, but now is demanding spending cuts under Biden. Yeah, I mean, like, this is a political football. This idea with the debt ceiling, it's most likely going to have to be done regardless, but it's being used as a political football.
Yes, I have a lot of respect for Senator Feinstein, but she's missed 75% of votes this year.
We believe that a senator should be able to make their own judgments about when they're retiring and when they're not.
Gillibrand.
There's a battle right now within the Democratic Party over whether or not Senator Dianne Feinstein should retire early.
I mean, like, why is this even why is this even up for debate? Why is this a quote-unquote battle? They should just, like, retire her already. Jesus Christ.
So in this video, I'm going to show you several clips from several appearances over the weekend from sitting Democratic politicians on both sides of this issue. And really, it's sort of heavily weighed on one side, as you're
my two favorite streamers in one place.
But there is one response that kind of surprised me.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And I'll get to that near the end of this video, though maybe not really, considering some of the history there that I'll also show you. But first here, this is what has been going on for years. It's not just over Feinstein's recent health issues, which I'll get to before I show the first clip here, but it's also over her serious health issues around memory. So I believe Jane Mayer here in the New Yorker initially broke this story. Dianne Feinstein's missteps raise a painful age question among Senate Democrats. So this is back in December 2020. They go on, or Jane Mayer goes on to discuss how several Democrats off the record are discussing examples.
Bipedal Meatbag, how's it going? Feinstein hasn't been able to afford to work since February. Show up to work, yep.
Of when Feinstein just completely forgot what she was talking about, the positions she had, things that she said. So her problems with her memory have been going on for years. And this has only increased in reporting. So the New York Times here, I believe this is 2022, so about a year ago. As Feinstein declines, Democrats struggle to manage an open secret. Democrats have quietly accepted the California senator's memory issues as the status quo. Another report here, this is late last year. Colleagues worry Dianne Feinstein is now mentally unfit to serve, citing recent interactions. So I've covered a bit of this before. I'm not going to go, I mean, there's a lot of examples, but if you want some of that, you can look up these sources that I'll provide below the video under sources, or go look at my previous videos on Dianne Feinstein. But this is a more recent one. So Feinstein, as I posted here, forgot that she just announced that she's retiring. So
It's selfish of her to stick around, true. At this point, it's just like harmful. She's not showing up to do votes, and if she's not going to be any use to like for you know, approving judges or whatnot, then like, you know, it's a problem.
So this is to Christian Hall here, reporter writing, asked by reporters about her announcement to resign. Feinstein says, quote, "If I haven't made that decision, I haven't released anything." A staffer then told the senator that a statement had been released. Feinstein responded saying, "I didn't know they put it out." They announced her retirement, and Feinstein, I mean, claims that she didn't know. How would she not know that they released this statement about her retirement? So she forgot that she announced her own retirement in the statement. Just to show you how bad this is. Now, recently, Feinstein was hospitalized over shingles. She was recently, more recently, I should say 7 days later, I believe, or maybe that day, was released. So she says, "Want to thank everyone. I'm recovering at home now while I continue receiving treatment." So this was over a month ago. Feinstein still has not returned to the Senate. And the reason why this is an issue, because you may be thinking, well, Democrats don't hold majorities anyways, at least in the House, so they can't really pass anything right now. Yes, except when it comes to judges. So since February, Feinstein has missed more than 50 votes. Her absence on the Judiciary Committee means that Democrats can only confirm judges who have some Republican support, because Democrats only have a one-seat majority on the panel.
Correct.
So let me get to Ro Khanna here, who has really been pushing this issue, to his credit, saying it's time for Feinstein to resign. We need to put the country ahead of personal loyalty. While she has had a lifetime of public service, it is obvious she can no longer fulfill her duties. Not speaking out undermines our credibility as elected representatives of the people.
True.
And I completely agree. So here he is over the weekend on Fox News Sunday discussing.
Cantor won't do the job, give it up. Exactly. Did you see Shapiro and Brand's nonsense together on YouTube? No, but I might have an aneurysm listening to both of them at the same time. I don't know if I could do that.
Discussing his position on this.
You've taken heat for saying that Senator Dianne Feinstein should resign after weeks of being out for medical care. You also responded to a tweet. Somebody was criticizing you about that, and you said it's just common sense, and added this: "There's no job I know of where you can just continue to not show up and people think that's perfectly fine. We live in a democracy. The people are the boss." Now, Senator Fetterman has been out longer than she has. Is your concern just about her, or would you say it also applies to him as well?
Well, only in Washington would you get criticized for saying something so obvious. I have a lot of respect for Senator Feinstein, but she's missed 75% of votes this year. She hasn't been showing up.
Right. This is like a completely different scenario. Fetterman, needed treatment for depression, got what he got the treatment that he needed, and that's it. And he's, relatively speaking, on the young side. So we're not talking about like a basically almost 90-year-old, senator like Feinstein is. These are completely two separate scenarios. And to my knowledge, Fetterman isn't on the Judiciary Committee.
And she has no intention. We don't know if she's even going to show up. She has no return date. In contrast, Senator Fetterman has said that he's going to show back up on April 17th. So it's one thing to take medical leave and come back. It's another thing where you're just not doing the job. The reality here is there's the sense, well, you need to have a deference to these senators who've served so long. How about a deference to the American people? How about an expectation that if you sign up to do one of these jobs, you show up? And I said out loud what people have been saying in private, and this is how the Beltway works.
Oh, look at that. Today's the 17th. Yeah, and he returned. He returned to the Senate. John Fetterman returned to the Senate, just as he said.
Don't like it when you call out someone who is in power, and that's why people are unlikely to do it.
And that last point that Ro Khanna made there is going to become even more apparent as I get to some of the other reactions from other Democrats in a second here. But his point is, I think, well taken. Health leave is fine. In the example of Fetterman, who left over his issues with depression, he said when he was coming back, he's going to come back, I think today, actually. So he's coming back this month. He just joined the Senate. This isn't a long-term thing. He didn't announce he's retiring already like Feinstein did. Feinstein is retiring at the end of her term. So this would just be her leaving a bit earlier. This is a much different situation than some of the other examples that defenders of Feinstein have attempted to bring up. So let me get to Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, and her position on Feinstein.
You think it's time for her to step down?
Dianne Feinstein is an extraordinary senator, and she's been a role model and a mentor to me my entire career. I sit with her on the Intelligence Committee. She asks some of the most searing, pointed questions of anyone on that committee. Her legacy and her depth of experience is valuable. And we've had so many senators who have had illnesses, whether it's Mitch McConnell's illnesses or senators who have had strokes. These are issues that we're human, and we believe that...
Wait, now, hold on. We're talking about Feinstein. What are you on about? Oh, God, I can't stand her. Jesus Christ. Hey, Alio, can you send me a link to that? Can you send me a link to a story? To that story?
Senators should be able to make their own judgments about when they're retiring and when they're not, and they all deserve a chance to...
But she did. She did, and right now she's holding up the judiciary confirmation. She's holding up the confirmation process for very important federal judges. In this day and age, we don't have time for this shit. Okay? Given the fact of like how effective conservatives have been at dismantling rights, this is incredibly important, and she's holding up one of the very few accessible tools that the Democratic Party possesses.
Get better and come back to work. Dianne will get better. She will come back to work, and she's already told Senator Schumer that he can replace her on the Judiciary Committee if it's urgent for these hearings for judges. She's a team player, and she's an extraordinary member of the Senate.
Holy shit!
It's her right.
Oh my God! Oh my God! This is like exhausting. This is exhausting to hear. I feel like I'm reading a fucking generic corporate letter. I feel like I'm reading a generic corporate letter. Shut up. Jesus.
By her state to be senator for 6 years, she has the right, in my opinion, to decide when she steps down.
All right, so the only argument there that's worth anything is that Feinstein was voted by people in her state to be senator. So you could say, I don't know, trying to force her out early is maybe trying to buck the will of the people. But if you are not capable of doing the job, I think it's a bit different, especially, again, when she has already announced that she is retiring.
Correct. How the fuck is she going to get better? She has Alzheimer's. Yep. Well, is that like a confirmed diagnosis? But it wouldn't surprise me anyways.
This would simply be leaving early to allow more work to get done. More judges, at the very least, to get pushed through. And yes, she's being replaced on the committee, so that may help in that scenario. But we're going to get to someone else later on who sort of gives a deadline for when Feinstein needs to decide what's going to happen, and it'll become clear what that vote is around in a bit here. But on the issue of Gillibrand essentially is saying, oh, she's been solid. She's been a good senator. Okay, that she's not, but she's not. That doesn't address the fact that she's not in, that she has been gone for a while now. And on that point as well,
Sure, regardless,
been,
regardless, bipedal meatbag is correct. She's not going to get it better from being 89. Regardless, that's very true. Jesus.
as I said, a lot of reporting on this. So the article I showed you earlier from the New York Times, they write here, again, this is a year ago, so things have not gotten better. At 88, Feinstein sometimes struggles to recall the names of colleagues, frequently has little recollection of meetings or telephone conversations, and at times walks around in a state of befuddlement, including about why she is increasingly dogged by questions about whether she is fit to serve in the Senate representing the 40 million residents of California. And also, it is widely, though always privately, acknowledged that Ms. Feinstein suffers from acute short-term memory issues that on some days are ignorable, but on others raise concern about among those who interact with her. And there are, again, many examples in all these articles. I will link below the video under sources on YouTube. But let me get to the next person here. This is Tammy Baldwin, another senator, and her position on Feinstein.
There's been some calls for her to resign now. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I certainly wish Senator Feinstein well, and am pleased that she has made the decision to have a fill-in on her seat on the Judiciary Committee. I think that is really an important and responsible thing to do during her absence, because we have President Biden's nominees waiting for hearings and votes, and we want to keep that moving. But I wish her well and hope she returns to the Senate very soon.
Do you think these calls for her to resign are appropriate?
Look, it's up to Dianne Feinstein and her family to decide.
Bro! I don't know if it's been said yet, but this is the art. Yeah, essentially. Yes. This is probably better, Elio. This is probably better.
Whether she wants to.
But like, I mean, I think like the RBG thing was more serious because it had. Maybe I'm wrong, but it is my understanding that had more ramifications. But yeah, it's a very similar. It's a very similar concept, because like, yeah, she's holding up like, judiciary appointments. She has been in office since '92. Wow. Time to retire, I agree.
Keep on serving, and she's had a remarkable record. And
I don't care, bro. Holy shit. Dude, I don't care if she's had the most impeccable record. I don't care if she's had the most impeccable record. The problem is with within the confines that we have right now, getting judiciary appointments is like one of the few tools that are at the Democrats' disposal right now, and they can't take advantage of it because of her. If anything, she's ruining her legacy right now. Yep, exactly. Past tense. Regardless. Good record, bad record. It's not relevant to the conversation right now. It's not relevant to the conversation and debate that's being had right now. The point being is she needs to retire.
Respect that.
So, Tammy Baldwin there, sort of at the same line as Gillibrand, but I think skirting the question a little more around whether or not Feinstein should be asked to retire. All these senators, they work directly with Feinstein. They have to know her mental situation. They have to know that she is not fit to be there. But they are in a position, as Ro Khanna pointed out, where they would have to essentially buck the establishment. And maybe at the same time they worry, well, if they get up in the years, are they going to face the same, a similar push to get out? So
I mean, yeah, and they should. What are you talking? Yeah, like, and they should. Why would they be afraid of this? It happens. You can't control that. Right, if your mind starts going, yeah, but like even like exactly, and like you can't really control that. Exactly, like, I'm not gonna, be like 80 years old and trying to think that I can manage to do the exact same things that I could as a 20-year-old. Right? Like I hope that like that's kind of common sense, right? It's just life. It's just life. You get older and, it is what it is. When you get older, sometimes these things happen. Your mental faculties aren't 100%. That isn't the case with everybody. There are people who are older than Feinstein who have who are much sharper than younger people. No, I'm kidding. But who are much sharper than she is, and who don't have memory issues. So it is a fact of life. It does happen. And when it does, if it does, you got to kind of accept that and not essentially be selfish. Except Bernie, true. Bernie is what? 82? Bernie is like 82 and he's still got it. He's not like there aren't complaints that like Bernie Sanders is forgetting the names of colleagues or forgetting phone calls or conversations. Because like that would be a problem, That would be a problem. If Bernie was declining, I'd ask him to step down too. Exactly. Right, because then it becomes a problem. And like, I mean, Bernie still got it. And while he still got it, then perfect. But if something changes, then we gotta acknowledge that. You don't see my ass running for office. Bernie's too socialist, but otherwise very smart and straightforward. I mean, I don't know if he's too socialist. I think people have that trope, and like what he really like advocates for isn't like socialism. Who would you like to see in California? I prefer Katie Porter. Honestly, Katie Porter or Barbara Lee? Honestly, either one. I don't like I don't particularly, I'm not going to be sad if it's one or the other. I'm not going to be sad if it ends up being Katie Porter or Barbara Lee. So it to me, either one has a shot, and whichever one of the two that make it is fine by me. Katie Porter represents the newer progressives, in my opinion. I donated to her. Nice. Alinsky Tactics. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome. Nice.
So at this point, maybe they don't want to make their voice heard too strongly around Feinstein and retirement because they don't want to face the same scrutiny when they get up in years as well. But if you're in a position, or if you're in the state where you simply can't do the job properly, look, this is a delicate situation. Some people are, offended by this idea, calling it ageist to try and push Feinstein out. You are, as a senator, you are a public servant. This is already a delicate situation. If this was, someone in some kind of company, and this person, is an
Right. Hey, Bub Dragon, how's it going? Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Pretty chill. Pretty chill weekend. Had some gardening and a cookout with the co-host, so that was cool. She's a public servant. Yep.
executive, and maybe they've been there for a while, and now it's time for
going
them
to
to go.
Scotland for
they don't
3
wanna
weeks and
leave,
not
even though
taking
they
me
have
with
issues
her.
their memory.
Nice. Hey, enjoy your. Is that vacation? You're going on vacation? Oh wait, no, I read that wrong. Not taking you with her. Boo. That sucks. But I agree with Farron Cousins about this. Feinstein needs to step down, and Newsom needs to appoint an interim senator. We may lose both Barbara Lee and Katie Porter from Congress due to the Senate primary. Yeah. I mean, if that happens, that would just honestly, unironically, giga trigger me. If that's the outcome, that's going to be so upsetting. That's going to be so upsetting. You need to step down like now, 4 years ago. Yeah, so wait, let me make sure I get this straight. So the point of her stepping down would mean that Newsom would effectively select one of them to be interim senator. Is that what you're saying?
That already itself is sensitive, but that company can deal with that situation the way they want to deal with it. We are talking about someone who is in public service. If you cannot serve the public,
gotcha.
and
Then
you're
they'd have to
retiring
actually apply
anyways,
for the for the actual primary. Gotcha.
I just don't think there should be no debate here. I think it's very clear. Feinstein has been there for a long time. She's already retiring. I think it's time for her to retire early and get on with things here. But this is going to be a sensitive topic for these senators who may be in a similar position again sometime, years in the future. But let me get to the one response here that kind of surprised me. And I'm saying kind of because normally this would surprise me.
I definitely don't want Adam Schiff. True.
Who is not seen as anyone that usually pushes the envelope in any way. But based on some of the past that Klobuchar and Feinstein have had, it's maybe not as surprising. But let me show you Klobuchar's response to this.
Is her absence in such a closely divided Senate hurting you?
Why am I getting nutrition ads?
She made the right decision to step off the Judiciary Committee. I serve on that committee, and
Got some bans for only 2 days. Way to go. True. 2-day account. Imagine being banned from Hildebeest and Shark Zero. Mono, how's it going? That's a good Pikachu emote.
We cannot advance judges or legislation with a missing person because of the close votes. So basically,
I'm good.
in the next
That's
week,
good to hear. Because you like chicken nuggets still, health ads? Oh, I see what YouTube's trying to tell me. I see. Hilda's pretty vicious? True. I'm hanging in there, Mono. By the way, now that you're here, if you want to, have you like started streaming like as like for real? Or because we can always shout you out, you know.
week or so, you're going to see Senator Schumer, probably sooner than later, putting forward a name, and then the Senate, as they've done in the past, can vote to put this person on unanimously. That's what happened when you had Bob Dole resigning to run.
But shout me out anyways. All right, folks. I've only done one stream, but should happen more this week. Okay. Yeah, this first stream from the other day. Gotcha. She viciously screams every time you raid her. This is facts. Fingers crossed someone says they're playing X when he actually sets them up. I was held awkward until the camera battery died, then immediately felt better. Well, then you need unlimited batteries. That's how this works. You're playing Mario 64? Nice. Super Mario 64. Nice. Nice. Alright, folks. Well, you know what to do. Click the link, do the follows. Why do we even get Posada Bot? I didn't need to see them post anything. Me neither, but maybe maybe they're opting to not say anything since Posada Bot called them out, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Posada Bot, I think, just does it automatically whether or not you type in chat, right? I don't know. With the twist, he knows it was totally normal. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go back and check it out. If possible. If not, then I'll have to catch the next one.
Run for office.
But you don't think Republicans are going to try to block that?
I don't know. I sure hope not, because that is against the precedent of the Senate and how we've run things. But that's the first thing, so she did the right thing.
I gotta get food speeds, y'all. Hey, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Many people have been out, as
enjoy the food.
You know, for periods of time when they're sick, and they have come back. In this case, we are going to need her vote on the Senate floor eventually. We have things like the debt ceiling coming up. But I think what we need to do is take her at her word. She is recovering from shingles, and make sure she comes back. If this goes on month after month after month, then she's going to have to make a decision with her family.
You wouldn't want to see me stream. No one wants to see my roadkill mug on the internets. I have my own I have my own mug, my own coffee mug somewhere. It's on the side of the set, but because of the way the camera is set up and the way the desk is set up in this new house, it's not really as visible anymore. But I do have my coffee mug over here. Mug equals face. Oh, gotcha. I knew that. Of course I did. Consider stream, but absolutely no. I would get up forgetting, not wearing pants or on screen. Oh no. Insta ban, insta catastrophe. Part of me wants to just stream without face next time, but it's something I should probably get over. One of my I have very few other weaknesses. Gotcha. Yeah, listen, it's not easy, okay? It's not easy. The more you do it, the easier it gets, I promise. Did you hear that the Dominion lawsuit we won't be able to see? They aren't airing it. What? That's bullshit. Damn. Or at least I'd open a porn tab or something. Oh no. Well, that's unfortunate. Echo Resta Dragon. I mean, I guess we're gonna have to find out until the aftermath. Mayhem Hippie, how's it going? will not be televised. It's a gift to Fox News. Not surprising. Hey. The trial for Dominion Voting Systems, $1.6 billion defamation suit, which legal experts are calling the most consequential defamation suit in decades, is set to start on Monday, which was delayed again until tomorrow. So who knows? No, thank you. Stop it. The trial just started. No, I think the trial was supposed to start today, but they moved it to tomorrow. Some of the network's top stars, like Tucker, are also expected to take the stand. It's worth watching live, except unless you made the trip to Wilmington, Delaware, you managed to get a seat in the courtroom, you can't. Oh, yeah, no, this is just getting started. Yeah, this is just getting started. So I guess we'll see from reporting what happens. Because we won't be able to see it live. Yeah, 3 years in. Yep. Let's see Fox News report this. They probably will. Keep reading. Oh, shoot. Where is it? I have a PNG that gets bigger and changes color with the audio, but that's kind of half-assed. That's kind of cool, though. Not only will the trial not be televised, the court has banned any recording or rebroadcasting of the audio feed. So we can't rebroadcast it? What? So we really will just have to wait until the reporting comes out, right? Oh, God. Jesus, I'm tired. Sorry, folks. So we're gonna have to just wait. One plugin that lets you change properties using a filter. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't have any fancy stuff on the stream. I can't manage all that. It's a gift to Fox News that's not going to be broadcast live because it spares them the nightmare scenario of the visual of some of their leading anchors being cross-examined and confronted with their own texts, which are contrary to what they've said on air. Man. The amount of good memes that we could have gotten out of this. The amount of good memes that we could have gotten out of this. Can you imagine Tucker Carlson on the stand? Can you imagine watching Tucker Carlson testify and have to explain himself as to why the bullshit that he's been repeating on air over and over and over again, why that's completely contradictory to what his actual personal beliefs are between, like, you know, colleagues and whatnot? Can you imagine having to explain that on air? Be like, hey, so you've been saying all this bullshit on air, but privately you say another? Why? Dominion should challenge that. This is absolutely in the public interest. True. The Fox News one, that's just the cable news industry protecting itself. Yep. Well, yeah, Fox is just trying to do whatever it needs to do to protect itself. That's for sure. It wouldn't even surprise me if they attempt to settle. Quote, "These are the circumstances we labor under. It's going to be an additional responsibility of the press corps covering this to render it accurately and fairly, but also to do what we can to capture a bit of the atmosphere of what it's like to be there in this high-stakes drama and to convey the intent of what people say in a way that may not be fully captured by simply by words on a page." Well, I guess we'll be reading about it. Health Dominion settles for $2.2 billion. Oh no, I think they're going. I think they're for real. I think they're gonna try. I think they're gonna go. They're gonna go for broke. I'd like to see Hugo Chavez's ghost on the stand. True. That is one of the important witnesses on behalf of Fox News.
And her friends about what her future holds, because this isn't just about California, it's also about the nation. And we just can't, with this one vote margin, and expect every other person to be there every single time. It's going to become an issue as the months go by. But I'm taking out her word that she's going to return. But right now she says she's going to return. Let's make sure that happens. And it sure better happen before the debt ceiling vote.
It sure better happen before the debt ceiling vote. Klobuchar putting a timeline on Feinstein here. This is encouraging to see someone like Klobuchar come out publicly and say, hey, Feinstein can do what she wants, but she has to figure it out by the debt ceiling vote because we need her vote there. So the reason why this, I guess, may not be as surprising as it would normally be is I covered this. This is a little over a year ago, actually. Here's a little interaction that Feinstein had with Klobuchar during a hearing about so this was, policy around limiting the ability for large companies like tech companies like Meta, Facebook, and Google to sort of prop up their own products over others. This is really more of an Amazon issue, but let me play for you this little interaction here. So Feinstein is on the side of the big tech companies, and Klobuchar is on the side of the legislation that she's introducing.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask the senator a question? Are you implying, Senator Feinstein, that the U.S. government, that the administration is against this bill? You just said that federal agencies had concerns, and I would like to know if you have some knowledge that I do not know, that the administration is against it, since they have made antitrust enforcement, as has the Justice Department, a major priority.
No, I do not know. What I said is I am told that federal agencies have concerns about these provisions.
Okay,
but
well,
this
that is a
committee
pretty
has
bold
not
statement.
had the benefit of their input.
That is a bold statement.
So,
well, I'm sorry, Senator. It's what I think, and I thought we're able to say what I have been told that.
By who?
And you may not like it.
Well, no, I don't like it at all, because I think that it's not true.
And in fact, it's not true. Klobuchar is right. Feinstein is wrong. Whether or not Feinstein was lying here on behalf of big tech, again, Feinstein from California, so she's going to have more of an influence from big tech companies.
A message needs to be sent, don't F with the election industry. Yep.
Or whether or not she just didn't know, forgot, thought the wrong thing. Regardless, they've had, that little battle in the past. I'm sure they've had others that we know less about. But Klobuchar knows. Tammy Baldwin knows. Gillibrand even knows. These are people that have worked closely with Feinstein for years. They know her state. I bet you it's likely that all of them at one point have leaked examples to the press that have been covered in the press, but their names aren't on it. Like, this is very clear that I think Feinstein should retire early. Again, she's retiring anyways, so retire early, let someone else fill that seat. And one of the so I didn't bring this up because it's too much video, but one of the other criticisms that Ro Khanna was getting for this is that, well, he just wants Gavin Newsom to fill Feinstein's seat in the interim, which is what would happen before the next election. And Newsom claimed or vowed to appoint a black woman on as senator if he was in that position. And so the criticism of Ro Khanna is that, well, because Ro Khanna is backing Barbara Lee, a black woman, for Senate in California, then Ro Khanna just wants he wants Gavin Newsom to put Barbara Lee on. I would be shocked if Gavin Newsom chose Barbara Lee, considering Barbara Lee is the most left-wing candidate in the race right now in the primary. It's very likely Gavin Newsom would just pick, I don't know, someone else who's not even in the race to fill that seat for now. So I don't think that's an accurate criticism of Ro Khanna, but whatever. We'll see where this all goes. I would actually be surprised if Feinstein did the right thing and stepped down early, but I'm very curious to see what Klobuchar and other Democrats, what they're going to say if Feinstein takes this all the way to the debt ceiling vote. And at that point, are they going to try something else to push her out of that position?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, at that point, like, really? Not to delve into TYT nonsense, but I've been really impressed by the way he's handling him and a few others stepping up to the leftist space as voices of reason. I agree. I think that David's video on this nonsense was very good. It was measured, succinct, to the point, and there's no real like negativity. There was no real negativity. I think it was laid out pretty good. Him and Mike's were really well done and respectful. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think that, like, if you want to understand where all of this is like come from and like why TYT received the criticisms that they did and that they continue to receive, I would definitely recommend to watch David's video. It really summarizes the whole thing. And I expect no less from Figueroa as well. Because it's like, it didn't feel like they even wanted to do this. It was more like why are we even having this conversation? It should be like, this shouldn't be an issue, but here we are. Anyways, go watch their video. Any one of their videos or both of their videos. I saw David's video. I thought it was good.
The Trump versus DeSantis elements of the primary are getting ugly, even though Ron DeSantis still hasn't even announced that he is running. A pro-DeSantis PAC has released an ad which ran for the first time on Fox News yesterday, directly attacking Donald Trump. Now, remember, Trump has spent a bunch of time attacking DeSantis as well, and you could say that's just as silly or pathetic. Trump's going after a guy who hasn't even said that he's actually running, and I'm with you. But here is a pro-DeSantis PAC going.
Oh, the DeSantis-Trump's feud continues to escalate. Mike's video was even more measured than David's, I think. Mike Figueroa from the Humanist Report. At least a few less disbelieving, sarcastic laughs, even though they're deserved. Yeah, but I don't know if, like, I mean, I think David kind of explained it. He isn't like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's more like, he's frustrated. It sounded like, at least like some of the thought process behind it. It sounded more like he was just like awkward and frustrated, that they were even in this position to begin with, especially with like the whole leftist mafia podcast episode that he references. So yeah, I think that's might be where that's coming from. But yeah,
going after Trump already. And DeSantis hasn't announced that he's running for president. This is fascinating. Take a look.
Donald Trump is being attacked by a Democrat prosecutor in New York. So why is he spending millions attacking the Republican governor of Florida? Trump's stealing pages from the Biden-Pelosi playbook, repeating lies about Social Security. Here's the truth from Governor Ron DeSantis.
We're not going to mess with Social Security as Republicans.
What did Trump say?
Entitlements ever be on your plate?
At some point they will be. We will take a look at that.
Trump should fight.
Jesus. Amazing. David's got more into the details and frustration. Mike leaned in on more. We effing love you. Why are you doing this? Yeah. I need to watch Mike's response.
Democrats not lie about Governor DeSantis. What happened to Donald Trump? Never Back Down Inc. is responsible for the contents of the...
Never Back Donnie. That's amazing. Never Back Donnie.
I have to tell you, the ad itself is pretty lame from a factual standpoint. Like, the big thing that they're insisting on talking about is cuts to Social Security. And the way that it's going is as follows. All of these Republicans likely at some point played coy with whether reforming, by which they might mean cutting Social Security and Medicare, is on the table. The ad accurately points out that Trump at one point said, well, I think that's something that we're going to look at.
Yeah, I saw that, Alio.
Trump has alleged that DeSantis tried to cut it. DeSantis voted in favor of a plan to reform, which might have included raising the Social Security age, retirement age, but it was non-binding. It's sort of like the factual story is very
Michael
weak. They're all
going.
exaggerating about each other's desire to cut Social Security, although I have no doubt at all that if it was politically advantageous, they would do it. What's important about this is the fact that the attacks themselves are a major part of what's going on right now. The uglier the primary, the worse it is for Republicans and for whoever is the eventual nominee. You will see some people argue.
And again, he hasn't even announced yet. So, I mean,
that a spirited primary is a good thing for Republicans. And often they will argue when you have a tough primary, it's a test of the candidate's strength and resilience and their ability to appeal to different segments of the Republican electorate, and the winner is going to come out battle-tested. Okay, that's the argument that they make. I've not seen evidence of that. What I have seen evidence of is that the type of Republican Party that exists today is a resentful, grudge-holding Republican Party with a particularly uninformed electorate who often only cares about one candidate. They don't really care about the Republican Party.
Right. They're basically it's Trump. It's Trump. Shootings are getting to 3 a weekly. Won't surprise me. He's still fundraising though. I mean, not officially, but guarantee that there's all kinds of PACs that have literally hundreds of millions for him. Day one, he announces. Yeah. Not a cult, by the way. Prerequisite to being Republican seems to be when opportunity arises, take a chainsaw to entitlements and privatize Social Security ASAP along with the electorate, as long as the electorate doesn't get wind of it. Yeah, and even then, like this iteration of like Republicans, like they just don't give a shit. They just don't give a shit. Like these people, well, there was like a it's not a euphemism, but there was like a proverb, I don't know how to call it, whatever. It said like the trees kept voting for the axe because the axe had a wood of the axe had a handle of wood and made them believe he was one of them. Something like that. Yeah, they don't give a shit. So it's probably like the best way of explaining it. It's like, the trees kept getting cut down, but they kept voting for the axe because the axe has a wooden handle and he fooled them into thinking he was one of them. Like, that's basically what's happening over here. Lucian, how's it going? The vote against, yeah, they consistently vote against their own interests. And, but it's all based on that. And not Bob Marley's small X, exactly.
And so what we've seen is that the more divisive the primary, it can lead to these irreparable fractures and factions within the Republican Party, supporters of different candidates who become disillusioned when their candidate loses, and they may not even end up voting in the general election. So I think in 2023, 2024, this ugly Republican primary is potentially going to turn Republican voters off altogether through the negativity and the mudslinging and the fractured nature of the party. If these Republicans truly believe that an ugly primary is good for them, well, it looks like they're going to get one, and we'll be able to figure out over the next 18 months or so, is this actually a good thing for the eventual Republican nominee? I believe the answer is no. If you think this is good for the Republican Party, an ugly primary, let me know, and we'll have the ad on our YouTube channel, as well as on Instagram, as well as on the Spanish YouTube channel, davidpakman.com/Spanish. One of our sponsors...
Show in your own time. All right. So that being said, it would be great for ratings. Welcome, Sharpie Diesel. They can see their own demise and they see there's nothing they can do, so they're grabbing as much power as fast as possible, like drowning victims looking for air. Yeah. All that is to say, Florida to allow the death penalty with an 8-4 jury vote instead of unanimously. Damn, look at all this pro-life legislation being passed. Damn. Cool. Look at all this pro-life legislation. Super pro-life. Oh, come on. Do I have to really do the thing? All right, hold on. Okay. Yeah, brought to you by the Guantanamo torture. Florida Governor DeSantis is expected to sign a bill on Friday. This guy's a fucking psychopath, by the way. How can you pass this legislation with a straight face? Because they can? Oh, yeah, 100%. These people don't give a shit. This guy's a psychopath. Have we ever elected someone that was already a war criminal? Ha! Allowing injuries. Oh, so yeah, he's perfectly fit for the job, I guess. Florida Governor DeSantis is expected to sign a bill on Friday allowing juries to recommend the death penalty in capital cases on an 8-4 vote, a move spurred by the less than unanimous vote that led to the Parkland school shooter being sentenced to life in prison. The state's Republican-led House of Representatives approved the measure with an 80-30 vote on Thursday, following the Republican-controlled Senate approval in March. And by the way, the amount of people who are on death row that end up being not guilty and exonerated is incredibly worrisome, particularly worrisome in the state of Florida. If the Republican governor signs the bill into law, Florida prosecutors trying capital felony cases would need to convince only 2/3 of the 12-member jury that someone who is convicted deserves a death penalty rather than a unanimous decision by jury. The changes only affects the penalty phase of capital trials. It would have no effect on the requirement for a jury's unanimous vote to convict the defendant. It's like 1 in 4. I think so. Shoot. Hold on. Oh, I saw this somewhere. Let me see if I can remember. I'm trying to find out where it was. From the Innocence Project. Why this change? Doesn't the prison system want to keep inmates for as long as possible to maximize profits gleaned from the government? No. Not in this case, I guess. Because it doesn't matter. It's not about logic here. What are we talking about? Republicans being pieces of shit. Yeah, this is like 1 in 4. But these are national statistics. Florida statistics in particular are even worse. Must be a day that ends in Y. True. Shoot. I know I saw this somewhere. Also, nice meme. Mr. Beast. That's the national average. Florida's even worse. Matt Walsh is big mad that Mr. Beast came out publicly to defend his friend because his friend that was my guesstimate, then found link from Innocence Project. Gotcha. What are we searching for? Rate of innocent people on death row in Florida particularly, because what we found was the national average, about 1 in 4. What is the rate of innocence in death row in Florida? DeSantis is gonna run. Have you seen the ads? The PAC's are already going for it. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, we just did a small segment. I don't know. I guess it's we'll see. But yeah, so Matt Walsh is big mad that Mr. Beast decided to stand up for his friend because he wanted to be, like, I don't know, a decent human and wanted to be a decent friend, because his friend came out, his friend announced that they were trans. Bammy, that's what you liberals do because you can't defend your fonts. True, dude. True, dude. Republicans really do be all about freedom unless it's freedom to practice a different religion, have a different sexuality, support other countries, choose different economic models, dress how you want. Yeah, so maybe it's not about freedom. Imagine, like, being this desperate. Imagine being this desperate that you actually felt the need to donate 15 biddies to do that. Cool. Thanks for the biddies, though. You should keep funding, leftist streamers. You're doing a fantastic job at supporting the left. So I highly recommend that you keep doing that, okay? Keep showing us all our false, yeah, they did 15 biddies. They did pay. So you know what? More power. Yeah, dude, donate more. Show us by more and more. The more biddies you in particular donate, the more you own the left, okay? That's how this works. If you donate 1,000 biddies, then, like, damn, dude, consider the left destroyed, okay? If you donate if you donate 1,000 biddies, then you destroyed the left. Congratulations. That's how activism works. Yeah, so stay mad. Fuck Matt Walsh. Die mad. Hey, Mayor McCheese, is he even considered American Chud? Didn't even talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. Yeah, but secretly we all know what that's about. Leftist destroyed with bits. No, I'm not a fan of Nazis. Fuck off. Why didn't people cover the whole Lula situation in Brazil more? It's a really good modern example of the U.S. systemically dismantling the left party in another country. Well, I mean, we tried. Donate more next time. Did that dude really spend his money to own the libs? Yeah, to own the libs, true. Twitch is soy and then brings up Fuentes. Yep. Owning the libs involves donating to leftists. That's how you own the libs. All right, is this what it is right here? I don't think he knows what a lib is. Probably not, but it's okay because he donates to own them. Grippers are the cringiest people on the planet. Yep. So we by far, Florida has by far the most exonerations by state. It doesn't show total number of death row inmates. They abolished the death penalty in my state. And in Florida, they're trying to make it easier. I just found out. I haven't messed with it yet. Is this the same one? We got like similar, yeah, I think this is similar info. Yeah. I can't find it. I could have sworn I saw it on this, account. Oh yeah, look, the GOP engaging in more domestic terrorism. Not surprised. Not surprised. Okay. I think she's a terrible human being, since for the worst people. True. Yeah, I can't find the exact thing. So the point being, all this to say, in Florida, it's worse than the national average. That's all I was trying to say. Anywho. DeSantis has pushed for this legislation since October, when he said he was very disappointed after a jury could not come to a unanimous decision on giving a death sentence to Nicholas Cruz, who killed 17 people at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland in 2018. This was the Parkland shooting. I understand that. But also, like, why would you want to facilitate now the state's ability to just execute people? Anyways, 3 jurors voted to spare Cruz, and by default, his sentence was life in prison without the possibility of parole. Like, he's never getting out. If the bill becomes law, Florida would join Alabama as the only state where a unanimous jury decision is not required, the center noted. Tony Montalto, whose daughter Gina was killed in the Parkland shooting, has been pushing for Florida lawmakers to make change the jury requirement. Florida death penalty. For every 3 people executed, one innocent person has been exonerated. Okay, so it is worse. Right? So it is worse. So I was right. Oh wait, yeah. So then it is ends up being 1/4, right along with the national. Okay, so my bad. Fake news, everybody. Okay. What I saw must have been incorrect. And 3/4 of those are black people. Yep. It's not a secret that we don't exactly... It's not a secret that those numbers are the way they are. Fake news, everybody. Whatever I saw... oh, POC. Okay, gotcha. Whatever I saw... My bad, yes. Whatever I saw must have been incorrect. It seems to be just within the national average of 1 out of 4. So, yeah. Is correlation equal causation? What are you talking about? What? Man, the list is crazy if I keep reading. What argument requires us to evaluate? What are you on about? Anyways. Because of the jury's incorrect decisions, the victim's my beautiful daughter, and her 13 classmates and 30 teachers did not get the justice that they deserved. Montalto said during an interview, okay, but like, while this particular incident, that may have been the case, that, that this person might have, as we say, quote unquote, deserved it, but the ramifications of a entire judicial system to be turned like that, the ripple effects are not good. Not good. The 4 youngest juveniles executed in Florida's electric chair were 16-year-old. All 4 children were black. Fortune Ferguson was arrested, tried, and convicted in 24 hours. Jesus Christ. I get where he's coming from, but with Florida's record of innocent incarceration rate and their terrible judicial system, this is not a good solution. It will make the problem worse. Right. Right. Like, I understand that, like... No, we're talking about the not the governor, the dad. The dad of one of the Parkland victims was one of the people who was pushing heavily for this. So my argument is, well, I get it, but this has huge ramifications for across the state in future cases. So like, damn, dude, what if like an innocent person got convicted to the death penalty on a plurality or whatever. Doesn't have to be unanimous. And now, like, the state has more power to just kill people. What if the state just didn't kill people? True. What if the state didn't have that kind of power? It shows there's corruption in the system, and that needs to be addressed. Yeah, and like here's what's like worrisome. Especially with like the way Florida's operating, because like think about it. Think about it from like a zoomed out perspective of like the kind of pieces that have been attempted to be put in place, right? They're making all these laws against the LGBTQ community. They're attempting to make not using the correct public restroom can be potentially a sex crime. I mean, they don't care since summary executions for misdemeanors happen in broad daylight far too often. Yep, more school children will die, more mass shootings where the motivation is suicide will happen. Yep. I don't think it would motivate more. Many die before they are put in custody. Anyways, the point the point being is that all this legislation put in place, like, damn, can you imagine if they start making what is Florida's penalty? Hold on. I need to make sure. Okay, so Florida does have the 3 strikes law. You're required to witness someone else's death in order to deal with your grief. That's not healthy for anyone. Yep. Does Florida still have the legal to run over protesters? Yes. My point was being that, like, with all this legislation, being targeted at the LGBTQ community, I could very easily see a system where, you could meet that requirement of 3 strike laws and start putting people in jail for life. Criminalizing, I don't know, the use of a bathroom as like some type of sex crime. The drag show ban or whatever. It will motivate them as their own death is assured. But isn't it possibly like assured anyways? Because like, I mean, one way or the other, right? Police, whether it be life in prison, they're not coming out of this, like, period. There's no scenario where a mass shooter comes out of this. Anyways, DeSantis, widely thought to be weighing a 2024 presidential campaign, has accelerated efforts to build his national profile, especially around crime and social and justice issues. In February, he traveled to New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia to speak to law enforcement about criminal justice matters. They also have any misdemeanor committed against seniors is upgraded to felony, right? Which, again, the 3 strike laws come into play. I don't know. It just seems like, certain things are being put in place for a reason. It's like everything else where the death penalty for people who probably never had the opportunity to better their lives in the first place. Legal and ethical questions have swirled around capital punishment in the U.S. in recent years, as states have found it difficult to procure drugs or carry out the death penalty through lethal injections. Several executions have been botched in recent years. In 2017, Florida passed a law that required death penalties to be imposed only after a unanimous recommendation by a jury. The law came after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down an earlier state law saying it unconstitutional that judges determine the facts that would lead to a death sentence rather than the juries. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, we shouldn't have the death penalty, period. And this psychopath has decided that the best course of action is to make it easier for that to happen. Speaking of more domestic terrorists, Oklahoma governor Kevin Stitt, Republican, has asked a group of politicians in McCurtain County to resign after a disturbing recording came to light, discussing plans to hire a hitman. I like DeSantis. There's nothing to like about him. He's a fucking psychopath, dude. But his take on the death penalty is garbage. Why do you think that? Why do you think that? He's a psychopath. Of course. What else did you expect from him? He's a fucking psycho. Anywho. Republicans, domestic terrorism. All right, let's continue. Discussing plans to hire a hitman and kill and bury 2 newspaper reporters. The recording of a county commissioner meeting on March 6 also has one official lamenting that black people can no longer be lynched and making barbecue jokes about a woman who recently died in a fire. Yep, this is what happens when behind closed doors. I am both appalled and disheartened to hear the horrid comments made by officials in McCurtain County, said in a statement. Why? These are your people. There is simply no place for hateful rhetoric in the state of Oklahoma, especially those that serve to represent the community through their respective office. I would not stand idly by while this takes place. I mean, it's your party, dude. He's a governor from Florida. What are you talking about foreign policy? And what do you mean fiscal policy? This is so vague. Why is it so difficult to name a fucking policy that like somebody proposes that's good or bad and why you like it or why you don't like it or like why this person is good or why not? Name a fucking policy. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, when I say, like, first of all, like, politicians, like, liking politicians is cringe as fuck. So that, yeah, maybe they're talking about DeSantis' time in Guantanamo Bay. Yeah, maybe, you're right, Bub Dragon, I didn't think about that. Like, first of all, liking politicians is kind of, like, already on the cringe level, but if you are going to support a politician, you should have an idea as to what kind of policy is good and why. An example would be the reason why I voted for Bernie Sanders twice in the primaries when he was running was because of his policies. An example would be Medicare for All, or some kind of universal healthcare system. His plan is just called Medicare for All, would vastly reduce costs for medicine, would expand coverage to everybody, would be feasible. As per his plan, he actually outlined the plan saying, from years 65 to then 55 and then 55 to 45 until we lower it, and then everybody can be covered little by little while we raise up, the revenue for it. It sounds pretty, makes sense. Sounds like hyperbole. What sounds like hyperbole? You're not making an argument. We asked you a simple question. What is it that you like about DeSantis? And your answer was foreign policy. He's the governor of fucking Florida. Fiscal policy. What fiscal policy? What fiscal policy? Is there a particular bill that he passed that you like? Because if you can't name any, why the fuck do you like him? Jesus fucking Christ.
If it was back in the day, would Alan Marshall take a damn blackjack, whoop their ass, and throw them in the cell? I'd run for fucking sheriff.
Yeah. Well, it's not like that no more.
I know. I'd take them down here on Mud Creek and hang them up with the damn rope.
Yeah.
But you can't do
The
that.
thing about it is,
Yeah, so here they are describing in what seems to be very explicit calls or explicit descriptions of hanging black people and lynching, which he laments that he cannot do anymore.
They got more rights than we got.
What they really don't
Black people have more rights than you have? What are you on about?
know is they.
and that's the thing about it. 20 years ago, I would have done something like that. I mean, 20 years ago, I wasn't in a political position. You know?
They're insignificant in my life.
Yes.
Really, they bring
The old
nothing to my
saying is,
table.
What goes around goes around. It.
It will. I told you it will.
Yeah.
I know where two big deep holes are if you ever need them.
I know where two big deep holes are wherever you need them. Oh, that was that from YouTube? Wait, where? Did I miss something? A comment? Oh. What? What? And banned Confucius Institutes. Can you name a Confucius Institute? I'm going to be attempting to be charitable and say institution. Can you name an institution, a Confucius institution that was banned by Ron DeSantis? This is incoherent. You're not making any sense. None of that made sense. There was not a single part of that that made sense to anybody in this room. Hello, Crackle Bear. Yeah, like, I asked for a simple policy. You're right, Lucian. I asked for a simple policy. What fiscal policy? Cheers, welcome. What policy do you like? China bad? That's not a policy. Oh god, this better be a fucking real bill. House Bill 7017. House Bill. Oh, cool, dude. Wow, dude. Massive W on Florida. Massive W on Florida. I didn't know this was such a problem. You know, like Ron DeSantis has a habit of like solving problems that don't exist. But cool. House Bill 1523. Can't get funds if you say anything nice about communism. True. Have to racially profile all visiting professors and speakers. You asked for a couple, I gave you some. They aren't in order of importance. So you like the idea of effectively monitoring like academia. House bill is Mississippi. No, there's a House bill 1523. There's a House bill 1523. I have a family member who identifies as LGBTQ+, pretty much rules out the GOP for me, and that's a start. Yep. No, it's not just about disagreements. It's about, like, why and where the priorities lie in said disagreements. Because, like, if your disagreement is, like, yeah, dude, I just don't believe in, like, the idea of, like, I don't know, free speech. Damn, dude. I just don't, like, I just don't agree on, like, people's identities or whatever. Nah, fuck you, dude. Get fucked. Reported? Good. I hope you did. Fuck off. Reported for being mean to me. True. Prohibits certain persons from operating as or holding themselves to be mover brokers, revises contracts or estimates. So wait, what? What does this mean? Yeah, I think that was fine. So they want to prevent people from being from moving brokers. Maybe this is designed to help people who hire movers and find their stuff missing. No, this is something else. This is something else. Hold on. Oh, okay. This is what he's talking about. It's the corporate espionage prohibits theft of trade secrets, prohibits trafficking in trade. This is already, like, you can't do that already. Wow, dude. Cool. Yeah, it's about trade secrets. And this one is about improper foreign influence, but again, with regards to employing a major research institutes like USF, new law requires thorough scrutiny of certain applicants for positions revolving research. Oh. Yeah, that's not concerning at all. Chinese spies were already in the news today. During the 2021 legislative session, House Bill 7017 was passed and signed by DeSantis. The new law modifies a variety of Florida statutes addressing concerns regarding improper foreign influence with regard to employment at major research institutions like USF. The new law requires scrutiny over certain applicants for positions involving research. Gotcha. Wow. Amazing stuff.
I got an excavator.
These are like pre-dug. Yeah, but the thing of it is, you know,
We actually told the truth.
I've known 2 or 3 hitmen that were very quiet guys
Yeah,
and would cut no fucking mercy
yeah.
in Louisiana.
Right, like I said, in Florida, education institutes are under threat now to heavily racially profile everyone they work with. Right. So do they know who this is? Yep, they do. Take a wild guess, Republicans. DeSantis just as a rubber stamp for all the worst ideas the right-wing think tanks. Yep. Guess who? Yep. Oklahoma local officials. Yep.
It's all mafia around here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the reality. If the hair on his wife's head, Chris Willingham's head, or any of those people that really were behind all that, if the hair on their head got touched by anybody, who would be the bad guys?
Who'd you blame for?
Yeah.
On the bark body, we wrap it up in tinfoil to preserve the body and stuff like that, and then we got all the body parts and stuff like that. And Kyla was out there too.
All the body part. Oh, she come apart.
Yeah, just the bark body's just
I know. I picked up on
and
They really
Cal-
fell apart when they're burnt?
yeah.
Have you ever
had barbecue? That's another.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm hungry.
Kyla looked at the face.
Glasses
And they got to wrap the tinfoil and put her in the body bag. Kyla goes, "You do know what we got to do now, right?" And Face goes, "No, what?" She goes, "You got to preheat the oven 350 degrees, leave her in there for 15 minutes." And she went, Bless.
Yeah. Yep. While he added that some of the parts of the recording could be interpreted as jokes, other parts could not be, whereas Manning starts talking about William's daughter-in-law and starts getting worried about who would get the blame. I don't see how you can spin that as a joke. Yeah. And here's the same Twitter post. Cool. Republicans, folks. Republicans. Really quickly, folks, there was another train derailment. Yep, that's right, another one. Train cars that derailed near a village in Maine, central Maine, caused a large fire. Were not carrying hazardous materials, officials said, adding there was no threat to the public safety. Officials said the derailed freight train cars were carrying lumber and wiring. Other cars were carrying hazardous material but were unaffected by the derailment and the fire, said the spokesperson of Canadian Pacific Kansas City Rail Network. Officials said the derailment was likely caused by a washout of ice and debris on the tracks. Rockwood Fire and Rescue said the train derailed north of Rockwood, a village in the Somerset County that borders Moosehead Lake, the largest body of fresh water in the state. Officials at the scene have assessed the derailment and has said hazardous material not at risk of leaking and are not at risk of catching fire. The derailments happened around 8:30 when the train came across a track washout in a rural wooded area, the rail network spokesperson said in a statement. Yep. So this stuff is just going to keep happening. Between our crumbling infrastructure, and the fact that, rail companies have a oligopoly on the rail system, it's just gonna keep happening. Correct, and the Democratic Party stifling strikes. Yeah, it's just gonna keep happening. It's just gonna keep happening. Our priorities are currently with the military-industrial complex. Anything but healthcare, infrastructure, things that help people. Regulations or lack thereof. Exactly. Government literally stripping them of their rights while calling it a win for labor. Correct. I was going to go over this because it's kind of like a meme story, apparently. Representative Green appeared to fire back at Lindsey Graham for criticizing her defense of the alleged document leaker by posting an edited image of Graham holding a Bud Light can sporting the image of a trans social media influencer. Graham earlier on Sunday slammed Green's tweet about Jack Tejera, who had been arrested for his connection to leak. Jack Tejera's white male, Christian, and anti-war that makes him an enemy of the Biden regime. True, dude. Biden regime, 100% anti-white, anti-male, anti-Christian, and anti-war. Oh, man. Graham, in turn, dubbed her response one of the most irresponsible statements she could make while appearing on the ABCs this week. If you're a member of the military intelligence community and you disagree with the American policy, you're going to be okay. When it comes to leaking classified information, you're going to jail. Can we get a tweet on this? Several conservatives have objected to Anheuser-Busch's partnership with Mulvaney as part of the... Yeah, you know, stay mad. This was the... Oh, okay, I see. So her clapback was a photoshopped image of the one commemorative can that was sent to Mulvaney, because apparently that's what that means when you disagree. I don't know, whatever. Those cans weren't sold or anything. They're specially made and sent to the influencer. Yes, she got one can. You do realize that Bud Light donates to your party. True. Anheuser-Busch is a GOP donor. Yep. These people made that week's outrage over a 48-second sponsored clip or whatever. The 48-second ad, for all intents and purposes. It was basically an ad. These people made an entire week of fucking outrage. Over a 48-second ad. By a trans influencer. That's it. That's literally it. That's literally what melted the entirety of the GOP. That's literally all that it took to cause a meltdown in the GOP. It's a terrible Photoshop too. We have some of the most gullible, malleable, dumbass people running the media. Yeah, and these people buy it. These people buy it. Is that Dana Bash? I don't know. Who, the influencer or the woman on the right? I don't know. I don't know who that is. The can looks flat. Yeah, it's a poor Photoshop. Marjorie Taylor Greene probably did this herself. Woman next to Lindsay looks like Dana Bash, a CNN host. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. Could be. Oh my god, these people are such snowflakes. Such fucking snowflakes. That's her, but the pic is fake. Gotcha. So much so that they attempted to boycott Anheuser-Busch and then attempted to take credit for the most minimal fucking dip. It says it right there in the article. Go down just one paragraph. Wait, did I miss? Did I go? Oh, an edited image. The original image, Graham is holding a pint of beer that's 80%. Oh my god. Jesus. Did he pour that himself? I don't know, but I'm just gonna go out and on limb here and say that if I had to serve Lindsey Graham a pint of beer, this is probably how probably how you should do it. That's horrible. I would literally throw the drink at the wall if I got served that. Yeah, but if you're Lindsey Graham, then yeah, that's the only way you should be served, to be honest. No bartender would hand someone that beer. I bet he insisted on pouring it himself unless the bartender was based. True. I mean, like, can you imagine? I mean, like, yeah, it'd be one thing if he poured it himself, but another if, like, somebody had to pour beer for Lindsey Graham. I mean, like, literally, that's the only way you should pour beer for Lindsey Graham. Like, that's the only acceptable way to serve beer to Lindsey Graham. I would give him the foamiest fucking beer. There you go. Yeah, that's true, that's true praxis right there. Okay. Anyways, I hope this means, all he would get is foam. Exactly. There you go. As he should. I mean, the only thing we can kind of, like, take from this is, like, obviously what she's saying is fucking delusional. But it does, it is emblematic of, like, how split the Republican Party is. And hopefully that means that they're more divided and more broken than we'd like to think, or that they show on the surface. Because, like, normally the Republican Party is very in lockstep, but maybe what we can take from this is that maybe that's not exactly the case. And, like, basically there's only two factions here. There's Trump and not Trump. That's it. Let me get you some more white on it for you. They fight they infight periodically. They wind up getting back in line. Maybe that'll end up being the case. I'm hoping that these fractures continue, because it's only good if they are unable to coalesce to do anything nefarious. It's only good if they're infighting each other, less energy and hate to spend on us. Right. So hopefully it continues, but who knows? The simulacra might be right. Where it ends up being that they just fall back in line. But who knows? They are good at that. They are good at that. So it's a concern. But we're not talking about like very rational actors like Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're not talking about very, very rational actors here. That leaked audio was really satisfying. Yep. When they fight though, they prove they're conservative bona fides by doing the most horrific things. Yeah, that's true. If these fractions continue, that gives the left more opportunity to gain more control, especially the government's tactics against itself. I mean, like, it's opportunities if there are openings, yes, but the simulacra also has a point, because like normally that is the case. It's a race to the bottom. In a sense, it's kind of what you're seeing, right? And these two camps, between like the Trump camp and like the non-Trump camp, is exactly what it is. It's a race to the bottom. More you'll see more and more extremist kind of rhetoric, which we have been seeing, just to keep Trump's base. And they'll say more unhinged stuff like Marjorie Taylor Greene. But yeah. Yeah, that might end up being the case. They get sidetracked by it, but they can always prove themselves by some horrific loyalty test, yeah. And that often involves throwing a group of people under the bus. Really quickly, folks, just to get an update on this corruption scandal. Justice Clarence Thomas to amend the financial disclosures to reflect the sale of that house, of his mom's house. Justice Clarence Thomas intends to amend his financial disclosure to reflect the 2014 real estate deal he made with the GOP mega donor, an acknowledgement that the transaction should have been disclosed a decade ago. Yeah, well, I mean, Jesus Christ. Not good enough. No, this guy should be removed. This guy should be removed. The deal between Thomas and Harlan Crow, Dallas real estate magnate and long-term friends of Thomas, involved the sale of 3 Georgia properties, including the home where Thomas's mother currently lives. And this is coming off the reporting that apparently he's been receiving money from a defunct real estate company. So, like, that's got... I've got questions. Should Biden withhold funds from states that pass anti-trans healthcare laws? While I agree with the concept, the problem here is that it might affect people who have nothing to do with that. It might affect like people who are even pro-trans, pro-human rights that live there. It's kind of like a delicate balancing act where, like, on paper, yeah, like, the governments of these states are horrible and they're passing very horrible laws. I just don't know if that's, like, the right move, because it could end up affecting people. Some of which maybe even the people that we're trying to help. Next time it says something, just say you'll fix it and see how the IRS says something, say you'll fix it and see how... Yeah, dude, listen, 10 years from now, I'm just going to casually forget whatever income. I'm just going to casually forget, just oopsies, and then 10 years later, I'll just be like, oh, whoopsies, oh look at that, I forgot. I'm sure they'll be all right with that. 10 years? Yeah, they'll be all right. And also, like, if that's the case, if Biden does hold, funds from states that pass these horrible legislations, could a Republican president start doing the same thing for states that do support, like, basic human rights? Yeah, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to engage in that. I think the Republican Party just needs to be completely removed from power in as many ways as possible. And that's going to require people getting out there and removing them from office. I mean, these people are fucking horrible. These people are fucking horrible. You can see what happens when they win elections. Like Lucien said, they pass all kinds of shit. They strip people of, like, basic fucking rights. We went over the fucking bill in Florida that basically can remove healthcare from people that can remove healthcare from people based on, like, religious or moral or ethical objections. I mean, like, this is just some fucked up, cruel shit. And we just need to remove them from power. The GOP attracts low empathy people. I'm not surprised. And, like, the audacity to, like, in some cases say that you actually care about people while taking away, like, some basic by taking away some basic, like, rights. Like, making a fucking law that says that you don't have to treat somebody because of who they are is fucked up. I don't agree with it. It hurts too many innocent people, and again, doesn't address the issue at hand. Plus, I believe it would be illegal for the federal government to do anyways. Yeah, like I said, you might catch some people in the crossfire. The problem is the Republicans. The problem is the Republicans winning elections. And the very, like, causal link between Republicans winning elections and bad shit happening. I mean, it's like it's 1-to-1, A to B. A Republican gets elected, bad shit happens. I mean, it's like a guarantee, 100%. Every time Republicans get power, bad shit happens. People's rights get stripped. People's rights to choose what they can and cannot do with their body get stripped. Basic shit like healthcare gets stripped. Laws policing what bathroom or you can and cannot use. Criminalizing people's existence. This is where I question sometimes if states should have individual rights or not. I mean, like, I think that states have prerogative over, like, the things that happen. However, there are certain things that are non-negotiable, right? Like, no matter what state you're in, there are certain things that are non-negotiable. The right to bodily autonomy, non-negotiable. Basic human rights, like the right to exist as you are, is non-negotiable. True. Right, there needs to be a basic federal standard for human rights that is non-negotiable. Right, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's so weird that I can order weed online and have it delivered to my door, but in other states there are people in jail. Not right. No, it's not. Can the Fed make federal funding contingent on relevant human rights? Yeah, they can. I mean, I don't know, like, legally, can they? I don't know. But again, the problem is the Republicans. Because, like, yeah, okay, let's say that's true. We start taking away funding from, like, I don't know, federal funding from, like, Florida. Florida is already as hostile of a place to be in as it is. And now, should a disaster strike, which it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, like a hurricane, what, we withhold federal, funding? I don't know. And there are people there in Florida that are fighting the good fight. There are people there from marginalized communities that are there. I think you can do that for emergencies. I mean, didn't Trump try to do some, like, fucked up shit? During like the COVID emergency? I forget. The UN voted to call Detroit's power provider shutting off power a human rights violation. I mean, yeah, if you're purposely depriving people of power, yeah, that's a problem. Jared did. Okay, I see. It's a little fuzzy. That was years ago. Anywho, the point being is that I don't know, like, how we could effectively set a baseline, because, like, there are people that would be hurt by withholding, like, federal funds, even if it's federal funds for, like, I don't know, building stuff, healthcare, things like that. I just mean that there are legal structures and precedents in place that would make human rights standards across the board not seem authoritarian. Gotcha. Yeah, it's like, but, like, that's the whole point of a government, right? Like, that's the only reason that you want some kind of, like, federal government, right? That's the only, like, one of the main, like, things that they're supposed to do is make sure that there are no human right, like, violations across the board. Like, that is, like, the one thing that they're supposed to do. The one thing is, like, yeah, dude, it turns out that in all 50 states, you should have a right to choose. Period. Full stop. Don't care. Fuck off. Don't care. The only business that the government has there is to preserve that. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Right. Like, that's one of the main functions, or one of the main reasons why you would even want a federal government to begin with, is to ensure certain things. Certain things must be standardized. Anyways, the corruption stuff, we'll keep following. We'll keep following on this. The reality is, the reality is, this guy needs to go. This guy should have been impeached a long time ago. How he even made it to the court to begin with, is beyond me. How he made it to the court to begin with is beyond me. How he spent, like, decades receiving all kinds of goodies and luxury resorts without reporting it goes beyond me. Biden helped with that. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And lo and behold, from beginning to end, corruption. Top to bottom corruption, I should say. The LDS? What is that? Oh, the Church of Latter-day Saints? Gotcha. Mormons. So is Thomas paying $7 million to keep his position? No. No, he's not paying anything. Even if he didn't do any of this, there's no motions to impeach or remove this guy. Even if he never intended to reform his financial disclosures, even if he never intended to amend that one of many questionable financial stuff, there's no movement to remove this guy. When there's obviously massive corruption here. Just call the Mormons. I don't give a fuck. They rebranded. With respect, does Congress agree to impeach? No. Because Congress is under the Republican Party. They're not going to impeach this guy. They attempted to defend him. They're okay. They're okay with like the corruption because it benefits them. So now acknowledging he fucked up, I think he said, I thought he said he didn't have to disclose it. Yeah, he didn't have to disclose it, but then decided to anyways after he was called out on it. And like, we still don't even know if he's going to own up to the other shit. That's what the government refers him to as have a lot of control. They have a lot of control and say within our government, the church and state is not separate. Yeah, seems like a common theme. Then what? The system is kind of fucked if we have no remedy for like corruption to this degree, right? The system is kind of fucked if we have no remedy for the for this type of corruption. So like what? Supreme Court justices can just like take bribes effectively. Supreme Court justices can be wined and dined with like lavish fucking vacations and resorts and like nothing happens because it benefits like the people in power. I mean, if there's no remedy for that, that's a fucking problem. If Congress is unwilling to impeach him for obvious like corruption and unable to fulfill his duties as a Supreme Court justice because of that, then we're fucked. But the Congress and SCOTUS can do whatever? No, they shouldn't. They do, but they shouldn't. They do whatever they want, but they shouldn't be allowed to do. That's my criticism. Like, why is this okay? Why is this okay? Why is it that one of the most powerful positions can be wined and dined like this? He's reporting it because he thinks the media will F off after, and he's likely correct. Yeah. It is wrong. Yeah, it is wrong. You're right. Most Supreme Court justices have been Protestant Christians. They have included 33 Episcopalians, 18 Presbyterians, 9 Unitarians, 5 Methodists, 3 Baptists, 2 Disciples of Christ, and lone representative various of denominations. As far as you know, they've never had an atheist judge. Right, along with their political positioning in Utah, Idaho, and Montana. Libs don't like the peasants questioning the elite status of their holy SCOTUS. True. And then, like, what's funny about this entire story is, like, the audacity that fucking John Roberts had about making a fucking article saying that it's wrong to question the Supreme Court's integrity. When all this shit is coming out, like what months later after he made that article, he was very big mad. He was big mad that people were starting to question the integrity of the Supreme Court. Well, now what, motherfucker? Now what? Now what do we do about this? So where's the separation between church and state? And it doesn't exist, mostly. It exists in paper. The separation between church and state exists in paper. But, yeah, Republicans don't believe in that. The French had an invention. They did. They did. But we don't want more GOP, no third party, so very hard battles to come. Yeah, but we definitely don't want Republicans. There's definitely no viable way of having a third party at this point. But one thing's for sure. One thing's for sure. Bad shit happens when Republicans win power. I mean, it's just like a 1-to-1, right? A to B. It doesn't even exist there. Guess who made polygamy illegal in all 50 states? The church. Wow. French are so school. They protest with a cigarette hanging from their lower lip, swearing at the cops. Oh, the French don't play around. They understand. They're still protesting. And Macron still decided to shoehorn that bullshit ass fucking pension reform or whatever. Utah got rid of polygamy in order to become a state. No way. Wow. The Church of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. Wow. God, religion is such a fucking blight. Such a fucking blight on humanity. Jesus. Romney is a Mormon. Yep, and he's a piece of shit too. Religion is a tremendously complicated thing. Yep. But to me, it's like, damn, based on the effects here, no, I'm good. Something like 85% of people call themselves religious. Yeah. What kind of religion though? Like the kind of religion, like the Abrahamic religions, like these like orthodox, like traditional kind of religions. Cause like, man, looking at our country, Jesus. All right, folks, I gotta get going. We got through it. We got through all the articles that we needed to get through. Folks, tomorrow, there will be no stream. I will post again in the Discord if you guys want to keep up with the channel. Yeah, we did the thing. That's true. You can join the Discord and keep up with the channel. You can also follow us on the Bird app. Sometimes I'll make posts there. Sometimes I'll make cool tweets. Sometimes, as always, folks, bad stuff doesn't just happen when they're in power. They shit in the proverbial punch bowl in the full view of the public, set it to fire, and film multiple vulnerabilities. But yeah, basically, I mean, great chat today. Lots of things to think about. Thanks. No, not a problem. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it. Thank you, Maple Leaf Dragon. Thank you, Bub Dragon. Thank you, Heat, for stopping by. Thank you, Michael Hassler, the Simulacra. I appreciate it. SV Harkin, thank you so much for mixing it up in the chat. Thank you guys. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you for the follows, the biddies, the subscriptions. I appreciate it. You guys are what makes this channel grow. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. And if you guys want to support the channel, Echo Wrestle Dragon. If you guys want to support the channel and you don't have the monetary means, just head on over to the YouTube channel. Hit the big red subscribe button. It really does help us out. We've gotten to 225 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. I appreciate you guys, all of you guys' support. Thank you guys so much. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya! Thank you for hanging out, Maple. Appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Appreciate it. All right, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.